Hey, 10-minute daily reality check, man. Have I got a reality for you? Obi, I got to tell you something, okay? We have become a society of assholes. There is, in this month's Philadelphia magazine, you can check it out online, one of the articles on the cover said, "Why are people so mean?" People have really become mean to each other. You know, if you think about it, right, every single night we don't talk to each other during the day anymore. We're too absorbed with our phones. We're buried in Facebook feeds because it's really interesting to hear what somebody's cat had to say and what the meme was of the day that the kitty cat had to do. We're constantly posting Instagram photos. We're out with our kids. We're out with our fucking kids and we're taking pictures and we're posting Instagram photos and we're hashtagging them. Well, you know, I want to hashtag my daughter. Why am I going to hashtag her? So other crazy people can watch my daughter? I don't even understand the hashtag thing. I call it the pound thing anyway. We're mean to each other nowadays. We don't talk to one another during the day. We're not present with one another during the day. Then we go home and we get on these silly little dating apps and we get into these conversations with somebody, and then the next best thing comes in because it's literally like shopping for man or women. I call it Manazon and Womanazon.com. We're literally shopping every single night for people. We can get into this great text conversation and raise somebody's hopes up, and then the next day totally ghost them and not give a shit and not even tell them why we vanished. Hey, I'm so sorry, I just don't feel it, which would be a lot better than just vanishing. We're angry at each other. When you ask a man or a woman how they feel about dating nowadays, they fucking hate it, usually. It's not a positive remark that comes out. You don't really think to yourself. If you ask 10 people what they think about dating, and they'll fucking tell you, and it usually starts off with a negative. To me, dating is always about, oh, this is the coolest thing in the entire world. I can meet somebody I've never ever met before in my entire life. Holy shit. I got a chance to love more than I've ever loved before. Sign me up. That's always been my motto, right? But people now, it's a negative remark because people are mean to one another. So dating is not associated with love anymore. It's associated with being treated like shit. Let me go put myself on a dating app and let me get treated like shit for a month and then get off the dating app. But yet I got to go back on because nobody talks to each other during the day. And then when we finally do have a relationship, we get broken up with via email. I got broken up via email by a woman who literally stated every single day, 14 times a day, how much she loved me and how grateful she was for having me in her life and how she never really wanted to go back out there and date again, and she thought that her whole life was just so much better with me in it. And then all of a sudden, a series of small events, which I'm not going to go and talk about, not at least in this podcast, maybe in a later one, but a series of small events and miscommunications led to us never seeing each other and never talking to each other again. And when she finally decided she would break up, but as you know, I already knew I was breaking up because the second somebody doesn't see me and show me that they have respect for me as a human being after sharing space and love and words and sex and soul connection, well, you're fucking done anyway. Plus the fact is that when somebody goes and they freak out over a miscommunication, it tells me what they are and who their character really is, and it's not somebody I can rely on or feel safe with. So her email ended with, I think, something like, I don't want to pursue a relationship with you at all, or something like that, being broken up with via email. And this is somebody that I basically spend almost every single night with, right? And this is how people break up with nowadays. It's like they don't even have the guts to go see the person in person. Imagine if I actually sat down with her. You think all the shit would have happened? She hides behind the screen and hides behind the email and hides behind the phone because it doesn't force you to go and talk to somebody and actually see somebody and have a little empathy for one another. Sylvester Stallone started this. He broke up with his wife before they got married. He sent her a FedEx, a letter breaking up with her. That's what he did. People are just not giving a fuck about one another anymore. Being broken up with via email is one of the most disgusting things a human being can do. Sit down face to face and look at one another and say, hey, this is what happened. I was triggered. I felt this when you did this. Maybe we're not meant for one another, but you know what? We can sit down as human beings and we can literally connect to each other just like we did. But it's funny. People can use the magic words, I love you. You could be having sex with them and they can look at you and go, I love you so much. I never want to be without you. I want to love you forever. And then 2 weeks later, they'll break up with you via email. What is it? Why have people become so mean to one another?
I don't know if people are mean to one another. I don't really know if I can't say that I believe that. I just think that people are just, we all have issues and we're all running into the world and relationships, beyond. intimate ones, but even friendships, like we're basically bringing all of our issues into it. And so sometimes if there's something strong enough there, you can go past all of your issues, or you can pass them. Sometimes you can pass them together. Sometimes you learn something from that interaction and you grow and then you get past it. Or sometimes you're like, okay, that person is like this, but I still love them anyway, and you continue on. But we're all dealing with shit. Like, there's this great quote. I forget who it is. I think it's Emerson. It's Emerson, Ralph Waldo Emerson, one of my favorite writers. He says, when you meet someone, understand that every person you meet is going through a great battle. Understand that every single person you meet is going through a great battle. And you think about that, to think about what that really means, you know? Like, and when you understand that, then I think then you can understand negativity, you know? And it's just like something you said earlier. You can take something that happens to you, and you can take something that some people do, and then be really hurt by it, and then push that off to other people, right? Because you're in a bad mood, or you're upset, or you're this or that. And then now you're creating a chain of negativity. Or you could understand that that person is going through a great battle, and that has nothing to do with you. And then you can end it there. You can end the chain. You can end that negativity and that meanness, quote unquote, right there. I just think that we all are going through some shit, and we don't all know how to do it very well. We just don't. We don't all have the tools. Or even if we have the tools, it's just, we're not very good at it. Maybe we haven't used that tool yet. So, I don't know. It's easy to say, but I think that practicing that, like, understanding, and really, like, see it when something happens, I think is, like, a great way to start.
You know, the chain of negativity is interesting. How do you end the chain of negativity? You got to see it before it starts. But then you said something here that I thought was really fucking amazing, is that if you take Emerson's quote and you even add to it, we all literally show up for one another at the right time for the lessons that we need to learn at that time, right? So we are going all through a battle. Life is a battle. Life's a constant battle. I mean, you know, the second, you know, you leave, even childhood, you look at, you know, I look at my own daughter, and I look at, you know, her not spending nights at my house, and how many times do I got to email her mother and say, this is really unhealthy. This is unhealthy for my daughter in the future. Right now, it's unhealthy for her. In the future, it's going to be really unhealthy for her. And it's like deaf ears. 17 years of coaching people, I know that people did not have correct attachment with their both parents, turn into fucking incorrect attachments with the opposite sex when they get older. I've seen it on many different levels. I've dated women like that who had incorrect attachments to their father, whose mothers blocked them from seeing the father, or whatever it might be. And I see the way they conduct themselves in relationships, and it's not pretty. It's actually really ugly. And I have somebody who is a mother of my daughter who I want to respect and I would love to get along with, but her ignorance is unbelievable. And it drives me fucking nuts, because what we're doing is that we're perpetuating and we're doing this. And the thing is, if you think about it, everything is a mirror. Everybody shows up exactly when they're supposed to show up for you. So if somebody goes and they break up with you via email, what they're doing is they're not completing the journey that they were supposed to have. The journey you have with somebody is the shit that comes up, is the stuff you're supposed to, is your struggles. Your struggles are going to come up in every relationship, no matter what it is. Every relationship, the struggles will come up. The strong will make it through those struggles and look at the person and say, thank you so much for showing up in my life. Wow, I can't believe I bailed at the first sign of fucking struggle. That's what a lot of people are doing now, and I think that's really what, what I was talking about when people being so mean is at the first sign of struggle, they bail. and they don't say anything. To me, the first sign of struggle, and I'm like, whoa, there's some layers we're going to go. Wait a second, we're going to go peel this onion off right now? Holy shit, man, you're fucking reflecting back at me. I got a chance to grow. And I think that's the problem, is that people are so afraid of the growth. They're so afraid of it. I mean, if you look at my ex holding onto my daughter like it's the fucking greatest possession in the entire world and not looking past her own shit, which is really a great time, because if you think about it, if she actually looked at her shit right now, she'd be doing some unbelievable growth work, right? Because my daughter was in there, because of the relationship that failed with me, that we didn't want to be with each other, because of my daughter showing up. Her childhood shit is coming at her 100 miles an hour, and she's ignoring it by holding on to her daughter and not really supporting her daughter's relationship with the father. And that's really ridiculous, because I feel for that. I have compassion for somebody who doesn't see it, and I think too many people don't see it. Just like the woman who I was just dating didn't see it. The minute something came up that triggered her in many ways, instead of facing it, she pushed it. She pushed it aside. Your greatest battles, Emerson, Obi, is that you actually fucking rally at that time. You actually look and go, okay, this is difficult. This is great. It's difficult. I think when it's difficult, it's actually great.
That's a good way to look at it. I think it's important. I think it's important to go through challenges and to use them as growth. Not everyone does. Oh, it's just not everyone does.
No, that's today's reality,
Yeah.
Today's reality is not everybody does, but most of you, though, listeners of this show, you do. And people who do actually achieve, and people who achieve become great, and people who are great become memorable. The rest of you who run around in fear all the time, and you basically push your life away, push it aside, don't look at the lessons that are coming in, I feel for you. I've got compassion for you. I've coached a lot of you past those points. Anyway, this is the reality of the day. Please do me one favor. Don't be mean. Pass this along. I got a goal of 1 million downloads a month. It's never going to happen unless you do that. Plus, if you pass this along, I'll buy you a brand new Buick. Why a Buick? Oh, because it seemed to have worked for Tiger Woods. And if you don't like a Buick, maybe I'll buy you a Range. I'll tell you what. You get me to 1 million downloads. If you're somebody out there who can get me to 1 million downloads, I'll buy you a Range Rover. Black rims, all the options, whatever you might want, because it's important to me. Did that just get your attention? Great. See you tomorrow.